That's right. We are back. God damn, I missed that song. Such a great song. But more importantly, myself and my undead brother here, Mr. Mortimer Deadfellow, are back to discuss some more carnage, terror, fear, but only this time, what we used to watch on what was known as regular TV. But as we all know, horror series television has not only transcended, but it's gotten better because now we have all these amazing fucking shows that we see across every single streaming service y'all motherfuckers use. So that's what we're focusing on tonight. A little bit of the past, a little bit of the present, and we're going to really delve into this stuff. But before we get into all this madness, mayhem, and good shit, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brother over at Horror Struck Hot Sauce. Hotter than hell. Check it out. That's right. We are approaching summer and springtime. It's barbecue season here on the Horror BBQ. So you're going to want to make sure you get over there to horrorstruckhotsauce.com. Get your new ghoulish flavor to give your meat that extra zest. That's right. So this is the time to share this out. And I'm serious. I want to see a shit ton of shares tonight for anyone that is a horror lover. I don't care if you got to wake up your husband, your auntie, your sister, cousin, unborn child. I don't give a fuck. Wake them up because it's time. All right. Horror series. You know, it was one thing when we had to wait so long for a sequel to one of our favorite films. As we were all growing up, and we're not just talking about the 80s. Everybody always talk about the 80s. We're talking about the motherfucking 60s too. So, it took so long to get all these films. And that's something that the art of the horror series has given us, is week to week, we would get a new episode, a new tale, or just a continuation of such things. And it's hard to narrow this shit down. It is. So we're going to go ahead and present you with what we got. We want to hear what some of your favorite horror series are. And I'm sure we have plenty of honorable mentions. So let's jump right into it there. Brother Mortimer, what do you want to hit the peoples with first?
Ooh. See, I got to go. Just to start it off right and start the barbecue off in a proper way, I need to go with Tales from the Dark Side. 83 to 88. Okay. All I can say is Tales from the Dark Side is let me see. I don't want to say the stepbrother of a certain other series, but in the same name and same vein as Tales, like you were saying, Tales. That's why I had to start with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it, really episodic, to where every episode you got another creature, you got another story of the supernatural, of time travel, it leaned into, to me, it was like a darker version of the Twilight Zone. And you can't beat the opener. The opening intro for children of the 80s and young horror hounds that happen to stumble across these videos for it later, it burns into your brain.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's like what the Matrix did, actually. because you look at the normal world and then you go, okay, man sees a world in light and everything like this, but there's a dark side, an underground.
It was
And
very kind of groundbreaking, I think, with Tales
yeah,
of the Dark Side. Nothing against our lovely Crypt Keeper and all of
oh,
the
not at all,
Tales
not at
from the
all.
Crypt, but it kind of brought us into the present at that time.
Yeah, it
Where
was a bridging,
they,
it was a bridging gap TV show
yeah,
wise. Yeah, because not everybody had HBO and stuff where you could only get Tales from the Crypt for a while.
mhm,
But Tales from the Crypt 2 is the best shot for shot EC comic remakes I've ever seen.
mhm.
Where they gave the EC comic fans of the true Tales of Horror vault, they gave you what was in those comics, which was pretty scary shit. And I got to give it to them on that. But Tales from the Dark Side to that end kind of, it wasn't like, where you'd have the sub show. It's not as good as like
Mhm.
one with that's not Tales from the Dark Side.
No.
It was able to answer back within its stories, and young beginning actors getting their start here, or even veteran actors showing people how it's done in some of these episodes, and they just blow you away.
Mhm.
So
They
it's like,
weren't afraid to. They weren't afraid to add more gore. Uh,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and they would definitely play on some of the traditional horror.
yes,
But they also kind of took it a step further. They were really kind of tap dancing on some of the occult
yeah, very
type
much so, yeah,
topics that you never really saw with Tales from the Crypt. Uh,
right,
so it was like blending all those great, because the Universal horror monsters were still fucking amazingly huge at that time. Uh,
right,
so they would give us some of that, but they would give it like just, and it's like Lizzie said, not as brightly lit, just very grainy, very gritty,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
constant feel of dread.
Well, yeah, like a difference between like a field, like a nice sunlit field, and a swamp when the sun's going down.
Right.
And it's like it's dangerous elements because there's eyes everywhere, and a lot of them glow because they're used to that environment and you're not. And,
Yes.
and sometimes, as like I used to think with this series, it was like okay, like if you had a sidewalk and you had the cracks in the sidewalk, and sometimes they were big enough to slip between them, and you
Mhm.
fall between the cracks and end up in the dark side.
Yes.
And where, and then it was very much, like I said, it very much rang to me like the Twilight Zone, but much darker and grittier, even though Twilight Zone didn't mess around either.
Right. Exactly.
That it is like, but it's the same kind of thing for me with those shows. It's like they did so much also for special effects makeup as
Oh, man.
well, because which will come to my other, believe you me, he knows I've got good ones coming for y'all. But it really broke in a lot of the up and comers that were trained by the guys in the 80s and the
Mhm.
70s and stuff, and bringing in the new bloods of the makeup entertainment and the actors and stuff.
I was
So
going to say the actors as well, because
oh yeah,
there were people, there were mainstay actors, but larger actors that were already known
yep,
for stuff, and suddenly they want to be on this show.
right. And it's like it tells you that it's the writing, it's the stories, it's the, oh wow, this is cool, I want to be part of that.
Oh, fucking A, right.
That's a good actor. You know what I mean? That's an actor that wants to have fun, that wants to get in there and mix it up and do something different. And a lot of them did that, like you see them do now. I mean, how many times on like Law and Order shows like that you get Martin Short is a killer, or
Mm-hmm.
Carol Burnett,
No,
people like that, these comedic icons. It's like what Robin Williams did with 1 Hour Photo. It's like, he was a sweet, loving, unbelievable guy, and then boom, just gets you.
so sorry to hear, but so glad you're back, brother. Hopefully you're feeling okay and doing all right. That's all we care about. And just sit back and relax and check out what we got for you.
Well, damn, man, rest up. Watch
Yeah,
some
big
good
time.
horror movies.
Hell yeah.
You got to hang in there with us in the attic, man.
That's right.
Healing power sent your way, brother.
Big time. Big time.
So,
Dun dun dun. Oh man. So because my undead brother here has pretty much got it nailed down as far as the preceding decades. So I'm going to start us off with the 90s tonight. And, you know, this one's kind of tough because I wanted it to be on my list. I figured since Mortimer was doing a lot of the older ones, I would do some of the newer ones. But you cannot not mention this one. And it's motherfucking Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I knew it was
no
coming.
one ever thought after Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, which, by the way, the movie was utter amazeballs.
Yeah.
You know, you had the lead actress. Yeah, the lead actress from Deadly Friend.
Yep.
As Buffy, and she made a very nice.
She made a believable Buffy.
She was as bubblegum Barbie as
she had to work up to being a believable Buffy.
That's right.
Because of what was it Christy Swanson? Yeah, Christy Swanson started.
That's who I'm talking about is Christy Swanson.
Yeah. So she set the bar up high for other actors.
Did. She was as bubblegum Barbie as possible. And of course you had
Donald Sutherland.
And then of course the late great Pee Wee Herman.
He was
amazing. Pretty much stole the show on that movie.
And Rutger
Hauer, of course.
It's like, it's like they hit you hard with this movie. They really did, because I loved every one of them. And you're right. Ooh.
But nobody thought this was going to come to fruition. And they picked utterly the best person to take the role of Buffy in this series. And take her to the next level.
They really did. She reached out to. I mean, that was the whole thing, because it's like with every series, people got to find out where you are, where tune in. Hey, I'm missing the good shit, and that's kind of what happened with Buffy. People keyed into it quickly, and then it stopped.
There's a reason for that. So with movies like Scream 2, and let's not forget, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
That took her name. Fuck. The actress's
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
No. I got it.
I went to school with her.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
That's unholy hilarious.
Yeah, that was before the surgery. No, go ahead.
Hold on.
I mean, mine.
Hang on. Sarah Michelle Gellar. She took us by storm in those two films.
She did too. Also, Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions as well. She has proved her valor on both ends of the spectrum. Whether she was very much a final girl, even though she hadn't reached final girl status until Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This show showed everyone that this is a bona fide female lead hero.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that 100%. Not only can she withstand the forces of darkness, she could kick the shit out of them.
Yep. See, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. And I think without Buffy, you wouldn't have video games like Lollipop Chainsaw, where you have exactly that. You got the cheerleader. Oh yeah, she's a cheerleader. Oh, the zombies broke out. Oh, guess what? She's fucking chainsaw, and she's lethal with it.
Hey, Reese, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you. We are totally doing well, sir. Hopefully yourself and your lovely partner are doing very well as well.
Yes.
But yeah, man. And this took Buffy to a new level. It wasn't just about vampires. We literally have every type of monster, demon.
They cracked open the lore for multiple cultures. Yeah, it was great. I love that. I love any show.
Not just that, but actual teenage social situations. they covered so many emotional traumas in this film. It was not just the horror factor, not the kick-assery factor, but kids who are watching this could identify with some of these situations, whether it was alternative lifestyle or I don't know how I say that without saying the word, the personal traumas done by other people forcibly. That's what I'll say.
I mean, you don't have to be a werewolf to feel like you're the only person that sees who you really are or understands you, you know, but I get what you mean completely. Yeah. It was like,
and that you could love something that was unnatural.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
The love between Buffy and Angel.
And Lauren, I believe that's the karaoke demon. He was an amazing character. I loved that. That character had so much depth and helped. It's like when you got a character that can literally talk to anybody in your cast, even if it's like Spike or somebody where bloodthirsty Spike, we'll go that route, you know, and still break through them. You're still going to get up there and sing.
Hey, Luna Projects.
You know,
what's up,
Luna? But exactly, it's like you had so many different people like that. You brought in, they brought in Anthony Stewart Head for Giles, which I can't hate. I love the man; he's amazing.
Otis, what's up, my brother Otis B. Dreads up in here. Nice. Look at you go, sir. And let's talk about the band camp princess of them all, Allison Hannigan.
Yeah.
I shoved my foot. I shoved my flute into my box.
Well, now also you got to give it to, or I think between, and that's the thing too on that, where you were saying about that, like Sarah Michelle Gellar earned her way through it, worked her way, you know, but so did she.
Yes.
When you think about it, so did she, because she was the meek, mild, and even her character throughout the show grew and got powerful and, stood up for herself and didn't need protecting from anybody. But then, no, I do need my friends. I need to not close myself. It's the growth that you were able to show stuff like that in that show.
Yes.
In my opinion, easier than you could in like, this is going to be an old one, but like 90210 and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, these were the shows that were targeted for younger audiences because the people making the stuff understood. I mean, the whole cast is in high school,
right,
and they're going through real high school things, especially problems at that time, and that's what made the show so perfect, because it didn't matter what situation we were going through in our lives at that time. We could identify with it. It's like, hey, they made everything feel all right. Like, we see you, we understand, gives you hope.
Right. No, I agree with that. I mean, that's what a lot of the trauma films did for me too, with Toxie and stuff like that. It's like, bro, you're not alone.
Absolutely.
You're not alone. There is, there's people in Tromaville just like you. Let's go.
And again, this show opened the door for some greats from the 80s horror genre. We had one of my favorite guys of all time, Brian Thompson, played some of the gnarliest monsters. We had John Ritter showed up for an episode from fucking Three's Company.
I love John Ritter. I love John Ritter.
But bless his soul.
Yeah, yes. I love John Ritter.
It sounds good too. Balfour from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake was also in this. So just a wealth of fucking talent would show up on this show.
Doug Jones,
yes.
As the silent men is like literally.
Oh, yep, the smiling man. As a matter of fact, Tyler just made reference to. I was about to talk.
Oh yeah, no, and that was one of his favorite roles that he had said too.
Yeah,
just because to him it was one of the scariest off-putting things
because nobody could talk.
Yeah, it says, and just floating through the town, and it's like that is nightmare fuel at its best. And but you're right, the show was great at it. It was great at it. Oh yeah, that's a great pick. Great pick.
even the cheesy soldiers doing a modern day version of Frankenstein,
Yep.
you know,
Adam. Yep.
with Adam. So
Yep.
absolutely, brother. What do we got next for them? And yes, Luna
Okay.
Projects, we are talking series tonight.
I'm going to go a little old school. Mortimer has a tendency to do that. But I'm going to go with the show for me that personally touched me. And it was something that I shared with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Kolchak the Night Stalker. From 74 to 75.
There we go. Bam.
Yes. Yes. That he is my spirit animal. Carl, if you're unfamiliar with this series, you can literally find the entire series on YouTube. Or literally probably Tubi. It's you can find this. That there's not that many episodes, and you can watch them all, and they're amazing. But you need to literally think of if Andy Griffith, or well, a more rugged, down to earth Andy Griffith,
Yes.
yeah, but met a different monster or creature every day of the week as a reporter, mind you, and nobody believed him. And he was the only person that could take this thing down and stop it so it would stop killing people. And this happened every single episode. It was something different.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad told me as well, his favorite line of it was, Carl, why are you in a cheap suit? Why do you have sneakers on? Why do you got running shoes on? Oh, I do a lot of running. Because he wasn't the brave. He was brave when he needed to be, when he had to be. But other than that, he hauled ass when he saw something trying to come at him that was Dracula or a wolf man or something like that. He got the hell out of there like anybody else would. And that's what it was for me, though, is he outsmarted them, too.
Yeah.
You know, it was like the Equalizer going against monsters. But he's not British, and he's a reporter. And he's Billy Madison's dad. You know, it's like, but you have Darren McGavin, the dad from A Christmas Story. You can't beat that alone, you know, but here, you know, he's Adam Sandler's dad and Billy Madison.
Hell yeah.
And so many other things, but it's like, like this show for me gave me my first Jewish scare, like monster.
Mm-hmm.
With the Rakshasa. And it
being, my goodness.
Yeah, and it's literally whoever you trust the most is who this creature is going to come up to you as. But this creature is nothing but hair and teeth and eyes and is about to rip you apart. It looks like the creature that's in the box and, you know, and other Tom Savini things known as Fluffy, you know, and so but it's going to be somebody that trusts the most to let your guard down.
Otis says Ralphie's dad.
Exactly. Yeah, Ralphie's dad. And he's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, he is amazing in it. They tried to restart this series, actually. They tried to do a reboot with his name escapes me, but he was the guy that played Dorian Gray in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
And I like him.
I can't remember his name either.
It's Stuart Townsend, I think. He was also Vampire Lestat. Yeah. But the problem, I think, the reason it fell flat and didn't really hit with the audiences is they made him too young. You made him a young, attractive guy. Okay, Darren McGavin was a like the rugged reporter, the guy that's been there hitting the beat for years. You know, he's middle-aged. He's more like Marv, just not a giant built psycho that can beat the shit out of people. But he reminds me of that type of character. Same thing as a wrestler. He's a guy that's been doing it for years and years and years. And it's just like, the problem is, it's like if you say, hey, dude, you know, I got to go take down this vampire. You know, those killings that are happening, it's a vampire. And nobody fucking believes him.
Yeah.
They never believe him. So it's just him. It's always just Carl Kolchak. And he gets the job done, man. He's like, he could be like Ash's uncle or grandpa or something like that.
Absolutely. You know, for me, the Night Stalker vampire edition of Kolchak was my personal favorite.
Oh,
Seeing him like this mild-mannered, you know, fucking reporter, going up against these things and nobody believes him and he's following the trail. I think it was Kolchak back in the day that literally made you want to become a news reporter.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was
because he
uncovering
was a
some of the
detective.
craziest shit.
Yeah, and none of the cops could figure it out. And he would put this stuff together. He would follow these clues that they were unwilling to follow. Oh, that's nothing. That won't lead to nothing. Oh, that's BS or whatever. That's crazy. That's superstition talk. Get real. And he was always right. That was he was always right. But it was like he was like Al Bundy. It was the same kind of thing. He was smarter than Al, but he had that working man's tenacity on, oh, you're going to mess with me, huh? Okay.
Even though I have, nothing to back it up.
Nothing to back it up.
Other than my intelligence and heart.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's the show right there. That's perfect. His intelligence and his heart. Yeah. That's how Kolchak fought him, was his intelligence and his heart. Yes, very much so. Absolutely. I love that show. And it did get a movie.
It did. And it was one of the biggest fucking things at the time.
Yeah.
It was so well viewed. People still watch that thing.
No, I will. I do all the time. Well, but, there's always something horrific going on in the crypt. But, yes, Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Audiences were absolutely captivated with this show. And I think this particular show, now, obviously, you had to have, I think it was either Showtime or HBO in order to watch it. But at this time, pretty much, the cable world, everybody had those channels. And this fucking show really, I think, ignited the true crime genre because they gave us an anti-hero. And this is the first time ever to have a serial killer be an anti-hero. Many people might not realize this. I'm sure most of our addicts and everybody that's with us tonight knows, when this show was on. But damn it, nothing was more amazeballs than fucking Dexter. Dexter was an intimate look at a serial killer who was by day pretty much a normal, for the most part, a normal guy. You never would suspect him, even though he had his quirks. So he was a little weird.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. He was, well, it's the Ted Bundy thing. He was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that's exactly what he was doing, working for, Miami police,
forensics,
as a forensics guy. Who would know blood better?
Right.
And I bet you, and I know for a fact, because I know a few people personally that actually got into the field based on watching that show because they just thought it looked like so much fun. I mean, you got to do all these little blood spatters and analysis, and this is
right. Well, that's all about experimentation. Yeah. And
because we got a lot of that with, let's say, Silence of the Lambs, for instance.
Oh, true. You get the more inner workings of the FBI and criminal profiling and stuff. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because up to this point, it was just all CSI and
CSI, and it was a great show. I'm not hating on it, but I'm
not hating on it.
It exploded. It exploded. There was every single version of it you could think of. But that's what it was, right? Though. But you're right, though. It was popping off people's need for more true crime shows. Because it's like even The Sopranos, which wasn't, reality based. It
was based on reality.
Well, no, that's exactly, though. That's the thing. It's like, oh, well, now you want to hear the story about the real Sopranos? Let me tell you this.
And believe me, I know the story.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. No, but that's the thing is you have those ways to where it's like, well, it can't be better than the real stuff. And it's
Right.
like, well, it can when they know the real stuff already. So they're going to give you things, but they're going to open up opportunities where it's like,
Yes.
well, nobody knows what happened during this space, so they can make up whatever the fuck they want. So, you know, it's like you got to be careful when somebody's going, oh, no, this is officially what happened. Other than that, it was based off a true story,
Right.
true crime, things like that, because they'll mix things together to get certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Hollywood cocktail right there waiting to happen.
And I mean, you know, his brother was also, you know, a serial killer too, which that brought a really interesting element. He's always fighting, like, you know, the drug dealers and stuff like that. But you felt for this guy. He was trying to build, you know, a life for himself, but and was finally starting to like actually be able to feel. So yeah, kind of crazy. So
yeah, no, but I agree with you on that completely. Yeah, you get that kind of anti-hero. They never went the route, because we always had anti-heroes in shows. I mean, even A-Team was anti-heroes. Yeah, you know, but they didn't kill, they didn't do all that kind of stuff unless they had to. Not like Dexter. You know, so,
not like that.
Yeah, not like that. But I agree though. It's like you if you're a good person and they're going after bad people, you're going to be cheering him on. Yeah, it's like just don't cross a line with him to where people don't like Dexter anymore. So it's like you just had it's a line to cross or to walk with that type of character. But I thought they did it really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kudos.
What do you got next for the peoples?
Ooh, okay, let's see. I think I'll do my last true time slip here, and I'm gonna go with Dark Shadows 1966.
Oh, I got so much to say about that.
Oh yeah. And there's a beautiful part for this as the beginning honorable mention. 66, 91.
91 was my favorite.
Me too personally. Mm-hmm. And 2012, which is Johnny Depp.
Yes.
But that's the thing though that I love is each one of these stands as its own
brought thing. Something different to the table.
Exactly. You know? But you cannot have the discussion if you're not talking about Jonathan Frid right there and the cast of the original Dark Shadows. Because they, like you said, you wouldn't have Buffy without this. You wouldn't have Angel. You wouldn't have Grimm. You wouldn't have any of these type of shows, I don't believe, truly, without them starting it. Truly, you're going to tune in every week to see what happens in this Collinwood Manor that is haunted and is cursed by a vampire and a werewolf and all these other things. They were the first ones to pay that stone for any up and coming show.
Yeah. I mean, it brought, you know, all the great, you know, supernatural type stuff that people were watching at that time with Hammer Horror, Universal.
Yeah, Hammer is a perfect example.
Yeah,
perfect example, because that's gothic. That's true gothic to me, true English goth, you know, gothic tradition horror movie that people know. You get your beginnings from the black and whites with, you know, it's a Sleepwalker and things, Dr. Kilgari. You go into the Universal Monsters and get all those black and white beautiful imageries, and then you go into Hammer Horror, and to me you get all of the architecture. You get the gothic, you know, you get the true, they are acting in real freaking castles. And sometimes, you know, it's like it added a real realism to it. And
it did.
This, you know, that was Dark Shadows was a lead in right into all of that, but pulled back enough so you could show it, you know, to the normal masses on, you know, television weekly. But it was amazing job, artwork.
Well, and that's the thing. This was a fucking soap opera, people. This was like during General Hospital time, and you know,
and it outlasted most of them.
It outlasted most of them, and was the most watched soap opera. Now you're talking about the 60s and the 70s here. You know what I'm saying? People were still,
Yeah, still tuning in to
life
see it.
stays
Yeah,
still, you know what I'm saying? They were all about the traditional American values, and here they are watching a horror series every day. This is what
right.
housewives were watching every day.
Yeah, and it's like this is before the Brady Bunch.
Before the Brady Bunch. And
You
I
know,
mean, they still had Leave It to Fucking Beaver.
exactly. Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly. But
saying?
then it's like
June and Ward Cleaver. This was a far departure from that.
that's
And
not
it
even
was
the
just
Adams
fucking
Family or the
fun.
Munsters. That was all
No,
tongue in cheek.
right.
And it's
This
like
was on the serious tip, not on the
this
comedy
was
tip.
gallows humor. This was this cast member might not be back next week because they're dead. And they were one of the first shows to do that. They really were one of the first shows to do that. Well, except for Barnabas, because Barnabas, I mean, he's a vampire. He dead when they started. But also, too, you get to bring in, which I get to mention this man twice,
Yes.
for a certain part of aging Barnabas Collins to the age of a 200-plus-year-old vampire, they brought in makeup artist Dick Smith. And as I know Reaper knows, but I'm sure some of our addicts don't, that if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have the Exorcist makeup.
Correct.
There's all this stuff that you would not have if it wasn't for Dick Smith. But the old age makeup that he did on Jonathan Frid as Barnabas is literally the best old age makeup I have ever seen. The only one that ever comes close to it is another work of his on Dustin Hoffman.
Right.
Making him 100 and plus something years old. And it was insane. But it's like, that's kind of as he had said for Buffy, it's a TV series that was taken seriously.
Yeah.
So they brought in people that knew what they were doing. You had skilled actors, you had skilled writers to do, like you said, a show well enough to make you want to tune in every single week.
Absolutely. Well, for my next pick, I definitely have to mention this one because we fell in love with him in the early 80s. And, we just can never get enough of Army of Darkness. So when somebody said, hey, Bruce Campbell is coming back as Ash, but not like we've ever seen before, we get this amazing series, and I wish it wouldn't have took so long to get it. Ash versus the Evil Dead. By far, I mean, the whole fucking planet was tuning into this thing. And, you got to remember, Bruce Campbell is very much a method, hands-on kind of actor. So all the stunts and all the blowing of the the blood splatters all over him and hosing him with gore. And I mean, they even
inside a corpse's anus,
I was just about to say that, stole it right out of my unholy mouth. I mean, he got to a point where he was just getting hurt left and right, and that's why the show ended. I mean, they could have ran this motherfucker for 10
Oh,
seconds.
yeah. They just had. I agree. They just had to go a lighter on him because he's still Ash.
That's just not him, though.
No, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? That's why Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 1 and 2 hit so well, because he was doing all his own stunts. He was the real fucking legit deal.
Oh yeah, slapstick. I mean, he's one of the best. Honestly, knowledge. Him and Sam Raimi really have that covered. Like every aspect that's built into Ash's very core of his character, and I agree with that though. But with all the stunts over time, it's like he was getting the shit beat out of him, and he was also Briscoe County Jr., with showing up himself.
Right.
And which was amazing. And that he did all the stunts on that too. And it's like he's always doing his stunts and stuff and just getting the hell kicked out of him.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's like, but the show, that's an amazing choice, because they didn't mess around. The effects were great. The dark humor was perfect. His one-liners were perfect.
Always
Hey,
on
baby,
point.
you like this wood? You know, it's like you got Lucy Lawless in it as well. You get Ted Raimi, who is amazing. And anybody that hasn't met Ted Raimi, meet Ted Raimi. He is amazing. And he will always be my Henrietta.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and let's go on to the next pick.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with Monsters.
Nah.
Now,
I'm gonna let you take this one because I think this was one that I didn't really get to see, and I'm definitely gonna try to find it.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll get the entire series to you.
Awesome.
It is literally from the same producer as Tales from the Dark Side. Okay, which was also throughout the company, of course, that was co-created by George Romero.
Yes.
And for Tales from the Dark Side, too, the only reason we had that one is because Warner Brothers owned some of the rights to the Creepshow elements, and he wasn't able to make the Creepshow as a TV series, so we ended up getting Tales from the Dark Side.
Right.
Well, after everybody enjoyed and had a great time with Tales from the Dark Side, they ended up creating a show called Monsters. And it's also one of my favorite openers for shows from the 80s. Is you literally key into a suburban household that are getting ready, getting around the TV to watch TV, and then you realize that the girl is a Cyclops and the mom is a Cyclops, and they're literally monsters in suburbia sitting down to watch their favorite TV series, Monsters. And they're sitting there like that, tuning in, and it's great. It turned it on its head of the family sitting down to watch TV. You know, it's like the Monsters are too. But this show went to a different level than Tales from the Dark Side did.
Right.
With the point of it took its name very seriously. So you got basically a new monster creature, which I also know you love, the same as I do with the creature features. Every single episode,
yes,
you get a different creature or monster or something horrific coming at you.
That's awesome.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you will love it. You will absolutely love it because that's exactly what it is it's a mix to me of like Tales from the Dark Side and Tales. You know, literally, it really is, you know, but and the monster effects are amazing. You got Tom Savini doing a bunch of them, and Ron Berger. So right before you get into K&B effects, so yeah, they went hard on the effects too. And even though it wasn't a hugely budgeted production, it doesn't seem like it. You know, it's indie at its best. You know, that's what it feels like. Oh yeah, totally. And it's like 13 episodes too. It's really not even. It's not even that long. There's only so many episodes. It didn't get a super long run like it could have. Yeah.
Some catch fire and just keep it rolling. And it was just like Freddy's Nightmare. Nightmare show that didn't last long either. But then again, you know, if it doesn't take off like a rocket, if he is not prevalent in every episode, then fans they didn't want to see that. They wanted to see Robert Englund.
Exactly. If you're going to bring the big guns like that, if you're going to say, oh, it's a show with Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy or Leatherface, you better bring the bacon, son. They better be there. The barbecue will get angry with you if you're not getting a hockey mask coming at us with a chainsaw in your hand. You understand me?
You know? Right. And we're on a little bit of a time crunch this evening, so I'm going to pretty much shotgun my last two. And then, of course, you know, yours as well, because you got a couple of really, really good ones. Oh, my goodness. And there's so many that we could literally make 2 hours out of the show.
Oh, yes. Easy. But that's the beauty of it, too, is it's years of stuff that people can go through and look up and find these shows and take you on these great journeys.
Yes.
And you don't got to wait for another episode. They're already all out.
And to answer Luna Projects on whether or not we considered the Twilight Zone a series, of course we did.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so.
I mean, that's like saying the Alfred Hitchcock series wasn't good. Yes,
no, very much so. And also a shout out to Night Gallery.
Yes.
Continue, good sir.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yes, we could go for days just for shows that were amazing, that were horror set or horror themed.
Yes. Because don't forget, stay tuned. I am doing a double feature review tonight on indie horror. And that is for directors Chase Dudley, who you very, very well know, and the great Ryan Cavaline. But my next pick needs no introduction. If you are quite the creature of the night that I am, if you love occult style shows, and honestly, if you were a fan of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, who would have thought that it would get so much darker? I have to say, the very first satanic show we could have ever been given, Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
It has everything. I mean, they nailed everything of teenagers. In the, let's say, the past 10 years. Rolled into the fact that she is a witch, she does magic, but it's also, it talks about religion and how, fucked up that it can be, and that it's okay to follow, your own path, be your own person. It was a very uplifting show, but damn it, Baphomet's creature, whoever was in that suit, because yes, it was a legit person in that suit wearing that huge, awesome horned mask. Everybody, just the whole play on, everyone's spirituality and how the Christian church has just ruined people. It's amazing. It's just an amazing show. The effects were amazing. The anything from the magic to I mean, there was a lot of gore as well in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not what you would expect. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that that's what the original series would have turned into. Like it, and that's what I enjoy about it. There is, it's like you took a show that was really, oh, it's funny, haha, we got cute witch, we got witch ants, and there's my talking cat.
Man, it kind of made you feel like you had a hocus pocus going on, a little bit.
Right, exactly, yeah,
practical magic movie.
And this is like, we're gonna go the American Horror Story route with it.
They sure the fuck did,
and I like that.
They did their homework. They brought in
exactly. I appreciate that.
The ancient pagans, the different pagan paths were in there. Man, you had everything in this fucking show. And another, female lead that is this like superhero, and
exactly.
I forget how to say her name, but the lead actress was definitely the best choice for this role, and she really brought it.
Well, you gotta have somebody that can do that for if they're gonna carry a series, especially a series that's already gonna have eyes on it because of the one that came before it.
Right.
And it's like, no, we're doing something different. And she was able to do that. She was able to captivate the audience enough and bring them into the project, the movie, to where it's like, okay, let's go. It's like, oh, I'll give it a shot. Oh, this is holy shit. Wow. Okay. That is not what I expected, Sabrina.
It was the most blasphemous show on the face of the planet. There was nothing else like it. The whole school for the school of night, the school that you go to learn. It took Harry Potter and made it fucking blasphemy.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely loved it.
It took Harry Potter and made it metal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Alrighty. And your last choice, sir?
Mine will be Friday the 13th, the series.
Completely threw everyone for a fucking loop because they thought it was gonna be Jason.
Yeah, and here's the kicker too. It went from 87 to 90.
It did.
Because I will jump through the premise quickly for our viewers, so because I'm sure they can find episodes on it on YouTube too.
Absolutely.
Is these the two younger people there end up inheriting a oddities and it's like
Cabinet of Curiosities.
yes, Cabinet of Curiosities building, and you have all these different artifacts. Well, they find out later that their uncle had made a deal with the devil and then didn't follow through. So the devil dragged him down to hell and cursed the objects.
Yes.
So they have to collect all these cursed objects that will kill the people that have them now. And it never had anything to do with Jason. At one time, they thought of having a hockey mask show up and be the last artifact before the series ended.
Right.
And then it didn't happen.
Oh, there was no way with the licensing that they.
Yep, no, and then that's exactly what it was. It's a license war that keeps Jason from us as we speak. Yeah,
bastards.
I blame Sean Cunningham.
Right. I think everybody does, but yet we're getting the Crystal Lake series.
Exactly, which I just think we're going to have Pamela chopping people up, which I'm fine. I'm willing to give it a shot. I'll watch it.
They can't not make mention of Jason, though. They just
exactly, though. I mean, that's the thing. Exactly. It's like if you don't, it's like at least with the Chucky TV series, they gave everybody exactly what they wanted. Yes. You gave them Chucky, you gave them Brad Drift, you gave them Tiffany, you gave them everybody. It's like, there you go. And people tore it apart, loved it. It's great because you got fucking Chucky the Killer Doll, you know? But it's like with this one, it was a thing. You could go through a different show week after week for, oh, they got to get the mask of so-and-so or the gilded finger or what do you know, or this mirror that will, and it was crazy. It got people to come back to the shows.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. There are so many great series. And I agree with Luna Projects on this. We're going to do a second show on horror TV series because there are so many that we still have to mention, and I don't want to leave them out.
Oh yeah, no, me either.
So, thank you guys for showing up tonight in epic fashion as always. And, we're going to be back, obviously, next week. We might even be able to do this Saturday. I don't know. Well, I'll talk to Brother Mortimer here and see what he thinks. And but nonetheless, we are this is going to be a two-parter because, damn it, there's some shows that definitely need mentioned in great length. So, like I said, please make sure to stick around because in about 15 minutes, we're going to have a double feature review of Broken Innocence by Chase Dudley and then This Way to Hell by the great Ryan Cavaline from Pennsylvania. He is turning out some of the fucking greatest legend-based horror films out of there, and he does it on a micro budget. It's
already near and dear to my heart.
Oh, big time. It just goes to show you that yes, you can and you will. Thank you all so much, and hopefully we've inspired you to check some of these shows out. So many of them right now are either on Tubi or you can catch it obviously on YouTube. And a lot of the different streaming platforms.
Yep.
If you have Netflix, you can check Sabrina out. Every motherfucking streaming service, I think, except for Netflix has Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But you can definitely check out Tales from the Dark Side as well. I believe it's on Shudder right now, and or possibly Screenbox, one of those. However you get your delivery, we want you to check them out. And then form your own opinions if you haven't seen them. If you have, go back and revisit its glory. But most importantly, as you're getting ready to hear my next reviews, stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Rebirth Underground. Stay tuned for more from Black Flame Entertainment.